I'm Stephen Handy, the chair this year. We welcome all of you. We are meeting today in Ogden City. Our facility in the multi-state office building is under construction, and we typically like to take a little road trip every year. And so here we are in Ogden. And before we start the meeting, may I extend appreciation to Mayor Nadowski, Ogden Mayor Nadowski, and the City Council and the staff here in Ogden for their assistance and help in facilitating this remote meeting this morning. Ogden City was incorporated, I just saw here on the wall here, February 6th, 1851. So one of our oldest cities in the state of Utah, and so we're just really grateful to be here. So we will begin as per usual. We will have a Pledge of Allegiance, and that will be facilitated by Vicki Ashby, our administrative executive assistant. If you'd like to stand and follow her. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very, very much. I would like to just take a moment, as I like to do, and just to make introductions. We welcome our commission. Where is Jackie? Oh, she's right here in the middle. Sorry, also to my right. Commissioner Fallon Owens is online. That will necessitate today that we will have roll call voting. Also, Commissioner Juliet Tennert is here, and Commissioner Tara Tui is here with us as well. I'd like to welcome members of our staff. I want to introduce them. They know that I like to do this. I'm going to do it. To my left is our Executive Director, Tiffany Clayson. We have here on the end, we have, let's see, we have Sam McHenry, our Assistant Attorney General. We have Brian Swan, our Deputy Director, Legal and Regulatory Affairs. We have Todd Darrington, our Finance Director. We have to the right of me on the far end here, we have Jeremy Summerlath, our Licensing and Compliance Division Director. We have our terrific assistants they work in licensing and compliance, but Joe Ferrari and Steve Lucero, who are helping with the technical challenges that we have. Hopefully they're not challenges. We have Michelle Schmidt, our Communications Director. We have also seated here, we have Rob Hansen, the Training Program Manager. Stephanie Hansen, the Off-Premise Program Manager. Craig Ware, our On-Premise Retail Program Manager. Aaron Hinkle, not here today. Aaron's not here. We excuse her. Violations Program Manager. Jeff Colvin, the Package Agency and Manufacturing Program Manager. And I think that is it. So just let me announce our future meeting schedule. You know, we meet monthly, so we'll be back, hopefully, and we will be in the multi We have, just to announce, some upcoming holiday closures that you know about. Memorial Day on May 26th, and Monday, June 16th is Juneteenth, National Freedom Day, and so our stores will be closed. Those online who would like to make public comments, or those present, please complete the form located at the back of the entrance of the room, and we will be happy to hear from you at the end of the agenda. We look forward to your comments. Number 4 would be our audit, and we have an audit from our state auditors. However, we've gotten permission to jump to number 7, and I'd like to turn to our executive director, Tiffany Clayson. This is a department appointment. The individual is traveling and remote. So, Director Clayson, please.
Thank you, Chair, and we appreciate you working with the agenda in this way. So if commissioners, if you'll look at agenda item number 7, department appointment, this is for the appointment of Director of the Division of Consumer Purchasing and Merchandising. We'll go into a little bit more detail because before you on another agenda item later is a pretty big overhaul that we're doing from a restructure and reorganization perspective. And so there will be some things that we'll need you to approve then. So we'll reference this again as a part of that presentation, but very quickly, we have two separate teams, sort of mini teams, in our delivery of service for our retail operation: purchasing team and a merchandising team. We had a veteran, a senior buyer, purchaser, retire after 30+ years, which we're all excited he was able to do. But we took that opportunity to really say, do we want to rehire for the same positions? Do we want to take this as an opportunity to restructure this part of that delivery of service for greater efficiency, better collaboration, to optimize, our revenue potential? This part of our team, every part of our retail team is really important, right? But our buyers are making those decisions to buy the products that we sell. And so those $300 million worth of decisions are really important because we want to make sure that they are buying the right product at the right time and our consumers can find it right for the right price. And so we need to make sure that they're set up for success. We also need to make sure that our merchandising team and product allocation team is set up for success. So it doesn't do any good to buy our products, right? Us, the DABS, to be buying these products like other retail buyers do, if they're not allocated to the right stores where they have the best potential to sell, if not all the stores, depending on the popularity of the product. But also, we need to make sure they're merchandised right, properly. Of course, in compliance with state law, no promotion, no advertising, but making sure these two teams are some challenges that we've had in the past where maybe we're buying the right products, but are they in as many stores as we could have put them in? Did we put them out, was the timing right for how we put them out, or was that a bit off? So I want to tell you that we had an extensive that we've had in the past where maybe we're buying the right product. And we, at the end of this process, have selected Maggie Hale to lead this new position. DABS as a wine broker. So she's worked with both our compliance staff. She's also worked with our purchasing and our merchandising staff. She is really knowledgeable about that part of the process. But prior to that, she has CPG retail experience, which is super wonky. So let me just quickly remind you, CPG is consumer packaged goods, right? So it's retail like you see in grocery stores, gas stations. That could be toilet paper. That's a consumer packaged good. It could be Coca-Cola. That's a consumer packaged good. So what we wanted is to try to have that consumer packaged good experience because it would be most relevant, right, to purchasing, merchandising, consumer insights for what we do because we're consumer packaged goods. So Maggie has experience doing just that. She has worked and managed a portfolio with consumer insights and purchasing. She's had experience near Bentonville, working and collaborating with the brand that she managed with Walmart. And her formal education is as an industrial engineer. And I point that out to you. Of course, you have all of this information in your packet, but I point that out to you because she's wicked smart, which we always want to have the best and brightest people in Utah state government. But I think that knowing a lot about her background and her formal education and training, I think it's really going to lend herself to systems and processes, which, yes, our buying and our merchandising, we want to follow trends. We want people to know the flavor profiles and the tasting notes of wine, which obviously she's very gifted at, and existing people on our team are very gifted at. But we also want to make sure that we have those processes in place, again, for the alignment and cohesion of purchasing and merchandising together, so that we're set up for success mission, vision, efficiency, etc. So that is Maggie Hell in a nutshell. Just as a reminder, she's traveling. She's actually abroad. She's out of the country, which is one reason we asked for you to move her up in the agenda, and it's why she's not here in person. Maggie, well, I'll turn it back over to you, Chair, to see if the commission has any questions for me or for Maggie.
Would we have an opportunity that, Maggie, that you could make a comment to us?
Absolutely. Is the audio working? Can you hear me okay?
I see her name on the screen, but do we know that we can have her make a comment?
Is the audio working? Can you hear me in the room?
Had the opportunity to review her resume, as you recall, and this will require a vote for this appointment and this hire. Any questions, commissioners?
Chair.
Please, yeah, thank you. Commissioner Tui.
I just wanted to comment and I'll follow up with a motion.
Thank you.
I am very excited about this hire with the division. I think that this, consumer product knowledge, this wealth of knowledge that Ms. Hale will bring to the team is not something we've necessarily been missing, but I feel like with her previous experience, she's going to bring a lot of innovation and a lot of forward thinking to the department and to the state and to our consumers. So I'm really looking forward to her in this role, and I would move that we accept her nomination.
Thank you very much. A second, please. Commissioner Terrazon, thank you very much for that second. We will look forward to meeting you, Ms. Hale, at a future commission meeting. All in favor of this appointment as Maggie Hale as the Director of Division of Consumer Purchasing and Merchandising. Let's see, we have to do a roll call, don't we, Vicki? Can we do that? All right, let's go ahead and roll call to you, please.
Vice Chair Terrazon,
Aye.
Commissioner Tui,
Aye.
Commissioner Tenner. Aye. Commissioner Orton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jacobson,
Aye.
Commissioner Owens.
Aye.
We'll take that as a yes.
I'm going to assume she has her thumb up.
And Chair Handy.
Aye. Thank you very much. We welcome you to the department and look forward, as I indicated, to a future opportunity to greet you and to visit with you. And now we'll go back to item number 4, which is the audit report from our state auditor, Auditor Cannon. We appreciate you hanging on for a minute. We know that you are virtual today, and we welcome the other auditors that we've had an opportunity to interface with, Bertha Louie and Jordan Cattleman. So Bertha, the time is now yours, please.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Handy, and good morning, Chair Handy, Commissioners, Director Clayson, and DABS staff. Thank you for the opportunity for us to present the results of our fiscal year 2025 audit on the Department of Alcoholic Beverage Services. From here on, we will refer that as DABS. We have our State Auditor, Tina Cannon, joining the meeting virtually, and she will start our presentation with an opening remark. Next slide, please. Tina?
Chair Handy, are you able to hear me?
We can hear you now, Auditor. Thank you.
Thank you. So as you can see, our audit was done under our statutory authority to provide an independent confirmation of the reliability and of the financial information reported by DABS, and to provide an independent professional review of the DABS internal controls and accounting procedures. And we're publicly providing our report to this commission because of your statutory responsibility to provide oversight and to ensure the implementation of our recommendations. As we go through this, there are 9 findings, so we would encourage the members of the commission to take notes and ask any clarifying questions at the conclusion of the presentation. And with that note, I'll introduce the team. Next slide, please. So Bertha Liu is our audit manager for this project. Jordan Kettleman is in charge for this audit. Leslie Larson did our fraud investigation for this. Sam Stevenson did the data analytics and and accounting software analysis. Morgan Hershey and Joanna So provided staff audit, financial audit experience for this audit. I'd like to turn the time over to Bertha for the presentation of the findings.
Thank you, Tina. Next slide, please. So this slides provide an overview of our presentation. First, we will cover some background of the audit. And then we will talk about the findings. From this audit, as what Tina said, the office issued 9 findings. But in our presentation, we are grouping these findings into 5 areas because some of them are actually related to each other. The 5 areas are potential theft of DABS retail store funds. That covers finding 1 through 3. And then next is improper Type 5 package agencies accounting and oversight. That is finding number 4 through 6. No accounting entry approval and fiscal year closeout. That is a finding number 7. Operations not recorded or reconciled in the state system in a timely manner. That is finding number 8. And then the last final finding is actually the most significant finding from our report is related to unresolved accounting problems with the cost of goods sold. And you will see in the slides in our presentation, we will also use COGS or COGS as indicated as cost of goods sold. Following these, State Auditor Cannon will give a closing remark before we address any questions that you may have. Next slide, please. So to provide some information about the background information about DABS here, DABS is responsible for overseeing the sales and distribution of alcohol in the state of Utah. And the revenue from the DABS operations helps to fund critical state services, including the DABS operations for the fiscal year 2024. DABS has sales revenue of almost $579 million. $113 million was directed to the state general fund. And the DABS also collected about 32 million, actually 55 million, earmarked funds for the uniform school fund. And it also collected about $32 million of sales tax and directed to the local government. DABS also collected 15 million earmarked funds to support public safety and underage drinking prevention and parents empower programs. So as you can see, DABS operations is very significant to the state. Next slide, please. So some background about the audit. The office has been performing annual audits on the DABS finances, operations, and compliance since 2013. As described by Auditor Cannon, our audit is done according to the statute and was agreed to by the DABS Commission. For the 2025 audit plan, audit plan was submitted, presented, and agreed to in the January Commission meeting. The office also performs reviews per DABS management requests. In fact, for this year's DABS management requests our office to investigate a potential theft. Next slide, please. Our 2025 audit plan covers 4 objectives in 2 areas. In the financial area, we review accounting system, including the recording of the financial information and reconciliation with the statewide accounting system. We review the bank reconciliation process and cash handling procedures. In regulatory areas, we review oversight to the package agencies and review procedures for budgetary compliance. And our audit started in February and ended in April 2025. Next slide, please. So as mentioned earlier, the office issues 9 findings in this audit. The findings are detailed in the report provided to you at the beginning of the meeting. This report will also be available in our office websites. This presentation provides a summation from the report. Now, our audit team will present the findings as follows. Jordan Cattleman will discuss finding number 1 through 3. And Joanna So will present findings 4 through 6. Morgan Hershey will present finding 7 and 8. And then I will follow to present finding number 9. Jordan.
Thank you, Bertha. Can everyone hear me all right? Okay. Next slide, please. So as Bertha mentioned, our first set of findings relate to the potential theft of DABS retail store funds. Next slide, please. So the first thing I'd like to do is to provide some context and to draw a connection between this year's audit findings and the audit findings from our previous year's report that would be the 2024 report. That audit found that DABS was not properly performing bank reconciliations at the time. For those of you non-accountants in the, for those non-accountants who may be listening, a bank reconciliation is a standard procedure used to ensure that an entity's cash recorded in its accounting records matches what is actually deposited in the bank. Part of that process is to follow up on any discrepancies that are identified. It's one of the most common and basic bank reconciliations and immediately discovered some issues related to change orders. A change order is when a DABS change. They're fairly standard in the retail industry. And so when a store makes a change order, they'll send a request to the bank will send the money directly to the store, and then DABS policy requires that the store return the full amount of the change order back in large bills. This particular store was not doing that. And so once DABS identified the issue, they contacted our office to request that we investigate the matter further. The office would like to publicly commend DABS for identifying the issue and recommending it to the state auditor for further consideration. Our audit team found that from fiscal year 2021 through fiscal year 2024, a little over $112,000 had not been redeposited to the bank. Additionally, through the process of our audit, we found another $5,500 that in liquor sale proceeds that was also not deposited in the bank. As a side note, there was about $3,100 from other stores that had not been deposited, but the presentation focuses primarily on this specific store. The audit concluded that these funds were most likely stolen, and we have the office has communicated those findings to the Attorney General's office for further consideration. Additionally, the audit concluded that this issue was able to persist for so long because the bank reconciliations were not being performed properly. Next slide, please. So this graph that you can see over here shows the missing funds over time by fiscal year. On the left, you can see in fiscal year 2021, it started out small and got progressively larger until it was ultimately discovered. Next slide, please. When the office conducted the audit, there were two main focuses. The first was to address the issue at hand with the missing funds, and the second was to ensure details. And so the state auditor recommends that DABS seek reimbursement from the individuals responsible and work with the Attorney General's office to pursue appropriate criminal charges. For the second focus, the audit team primarily evaluated DABS's control procedures. And so one of the first things that the team looked at was the bank reconciliations. Considering that the state auditor has an oversight responsibility, the state auditor cannot emphasize enough how important bank reconciliations are for safeguarding public funds. They are an efficient efficient method for quickly identifying and addressing issues as they arise. Not performing bank reconciliations invites misuse and theft of public funds. Now, I will say, DABS does appear to have significantly improved their bank reconciliation procedures, but it is crucial that the DABS continue that momentum and address issues as they arise. Now, on top of the bank reconciliations, DABS also updated the change order policy and instituted a be in line with statutory requirements for bank deposits. For the change order reconciliation, the audit team found that DABS personnel had made several errors while conducting that control procedure, and so the state auditor recommends that DABS exercise greater control when performing that reconciliation. The proper implementation of these recommendations will demonstrate that DABS is serious about safeguarding public funds and will seriously mitigate the potential for future theft and misuse. And with that, I will turn the time over to Joanna to cover our next set of findings. Thank you. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Jordan. The next three findings that we would like to address are regarding Type 5 package agencies, or PAs, where the audit noted improper accounting and oversight at DABS. Type 5 package agencies, to give you a little context, are liquor manufacturers that the state has authorized and allowed them to sell their own manufactured liquor directly to the public. Across the state of Utah, there are 80 Type 5s, which make up over half of all package agencies in the state. Each of these Type 5s are required to report their sales data directly to DABS monthly. And to give you a little context of the significance of these Type 5s, in the first 8 months of fiscal year 25, they reported $11.6 million in sales revenue. And DABS relies on this sales data to comply with statutory earmarks, which are designated monies that the state has set aside in Utah code for specific purposes. And in this case, for public safety, school lunch, and for underage drinking prevention. First of all, during the fiscal year 24 financial audit cycle, our financial audit team discovered that DABS had been improperly recording revenue and expenses for Type 5 liquor sales. Now, given that Type 5s and DABS are completely separate, and Type 5 and onto their accounting books. DABS became aware of the situation in October of 2024, where they promptly stopped all such accounting practices. The books of roughly $3.3 million in expenses and $3.8 million in revenue that will need to be addressed, and we recommend that they correct this through reversing the entries before the end of fiscal year 25 financial closeout. In addition to these improper accounting entries, the audit also noted that DABS has not been appropriately tracking or accounting for the statutory earmarks. The audit found that there was a discrepancy in how the statutory earmarks were being and left the earmarks unable to be tracked. Additionally, the audit noted that some of the earmarks were being tracked together, and because they were not being tracked individually, it was very difficult to determine which funds were for which public purposes. In the course of our audit, we were able to determine that the statutory earmarks were initially underfunded. However, partway through the audit, DABS made additional improper adjustments to the system, and the earmarks are now overfunded. This is to give you a general overview of the situation at hand and the recommendations that we will be giving. However, you can find the specifics in the audit report in front of you in finding number 5. And finally, we would like to discuss the sales data that the Type 5s report to DABS. Although these sales data are crucial for statutory compliance, DABS does not corroborate the information with other information to ensure that it is accurate and is reported to them accurately. Given that this is important and crucial for the calculation for the statutory earmarks, there should be oversight, and oversight is absolutely necessary to ensure statutory compliance and to ensure that the funds are being transferred appropriately and are used for the specific public purposes as set aside by Utah code. With all this being said, we have the following recommendations. Next slide, please. We recommend that DABS reverse and correct the improper revenue and expense accounting entries before the end of fiscal year 25 and before the financial closeout. We also recommend that DABS properly accounts for the earmark funds in separate accounts and as well as ensuring that the earmarks are properly funded. And finally, we recommend that DABS ensure oversight over the Type 5 package agency sales data to ensure that they are accurately reporting the liquor sales and to ensure that they are statutorily compliant and that the funds are being transferred for the correct public purposes. And now I'd like to turn the time over to Morgan for the next few findings. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Joanna. Okay. A little closer. Okay. Our remaining 3 findings all pertain to the DABS accounting system and procedures. Because of their importance and significance, we'll be addressing each finding individually here. Next slide, please. Currently, DABS does not require review and approval of journal entries by someone other than the preparer before they are booked to the accounting system. Requiring approval is a standard accounting practice that helps to ensure accuracy has the capability to require a review and approval. DABS did not utilize this capability when implementing the system. Additionally, as Joanna noted, during the audit, we found several adjustments that could have been mitigated had there been a review and approval process been in place. Additionally, as of April, DABS has not closed out fiscal year 2024 in the accounting system. In accounting, a closeout finalizes the records for a fiscal year once the year has ended and has been audited. Having a closeout process implemented ensures that changes are not being made to previous fiscal years. Both the lack of a review and approval over the journal entries and not closing out previous fiscal years could have a negative impact on the state's financial reporting. Next slide, please. As such, we'd like to recommend that DABS ensure journal entries are reviewed and approved before being booked to the accounting system and implement and follow a policy to close out fiscal year 2024 and future fiscal years in a timely manner. Next slide. Finding number 8 pertains to next slide. As a major component of the state of Utah, DABS is required to transfer their accounting data from D365 to the state's accounting system. DABS implemented Microsoft D365 as their accounting system in October of 2022, and since the implementation of D365 has not transmitted this data in a timely manner to the state system. The Office of the State Auditor has noted similar findings in our last 2 audit reports. While DABS has made progress, the following areas need further improvement. Next slide. This year, DABS refined their process for transferring the data between D365 and the state system. Historically, when DABS would transfer data into the state system, rather than moving the data directly to the correct locations, they would first place it into clearing accounts. DABS would then have to go manually move the data from the clearing accounts into the correct locations in the state system. This required additional work and was prone to error. For example, not clearing these accounts properly resulted in significant adjustments to the state's annual financial report and to the DABS liquor profit transfer to the general fund. In October of 2024, DABS altered this process so that they are now transferring the data directly to the correct locations rather than using clearing accounts. We were able to verify that this new process is accurately transferring the data. However, the first 3 months of fiscal year 2025 were transferred using clearing accounts, and DABS will need to ensure that they are properly transferred before the end of this fiscal year. While DABS has improved its process for transferring data, it is still rather complex and a very manual process. DABS accounting staff run the process through a basic spreadsheet program, which is not equipped to handle large quantities of data. Using a data analytics software would streamline the process, increasing efficiency and reducing the risk of error. During our audit staff was able to reperform the process using our data analytic software idea, significantly reducing the amount of time it took to transfer the data. Another recommendation would be to fully automate the data transmission process to streamline and reduce human error. Because of the importance of this data and the fact that the process is still so manual, DBS should be performing a formal reconciliation regularly to ensure that the data is being properly transferred. DBS did perform one reconciliation for the October data, but should continue to do so on a regular basis. Next slide. And ensure that data is correctly recorded by performing reconciliations in a timely manner. I will now pass the time to Bertha for our final finding.
Thank you, Morgan. So finding number 9 is our final findings in the report. And I would like to emphasize this is actually the most significant finding from our report. This is related to unresolved accounting problems with the cost of goods sold. Next slide, please. DABS still has a continued accounting problem with the cost of goods sold expenses. As a refresher, cost of goods sold represent the direct costs associated with profit. With that being said, cost of goods sold is a major component in calculating liquor profits transfer to the general fund. So the accuracy of the cost of goods sold amount directly and significantly impact the amount of profit to be transferred. As indicated earlier, DABS operation is significant to the state, and revenue generated from the DABS helps fund critical state services. In the fiscal year 2024 financial audit, DABS reported the cost of goods sold expenses financial report. In response to these prior year adjustments, the audit conducted a review of the cost of goods sold and used a standard accounting formula to calculate its relationship with the purchases and inventory balances for the first half of the fiscal year 2025. The audit noted DABS still have accounting issues related to this amount. The standard accounting formula indicates that DABS could be understating the cost of goods sold by approximately $13 million for the first half of the year. DABS was not able to provide an explanation and is still investigating the issue. The office will continue to monitor to ensure DABS resolve this problem by the end of the fiscal year, so that to avoid the misstatement of the ACFR. Next slide, please. As described above, accurate accounting of cost of goods sold significantly impact the financial reporting of the state ACFR and the liquor profits transfer. The office recommend DABS continue to investigate and prioritize resolving this problem before fiscal year end closing. This concludes our presentation of the 9 findings. Now we will turn the time to our State Auditor Cannon to give a closing remarks. Next slide, please, Tina.
Thank you, Bertha. I'm hoping everyone can still hear me okay.
Yes,
As I stated, thank you. As I stated at the beginning of the presentation, this commission has both statutory and financial compliance oversight of DABS. The prioritization and the implementation of these recommendations is the responsibility of this commission. I would add one additional recommendation to the list of 9. DABS should prioritize the hiring, retaining, and continued training of qualified accounting staff. Providing continuing professional education is appropriate. Most of these issues could have been resolved much sooner with the recognition of the accounting problems that were occurring. And that recognition of those problems would probably be more readily apparent to a qualified CPA or oversight staff with that training. So I'd highly recommend that as you consider your staffing issues, that you put retaining qualified accounting staff at the top of your list of priorities. And with that, I would like to return the meeting over to you, Chair Handy, to facilitate any questions that the commission may have.
Thank you very much, Auditor Cannon and the audit team. I've had the opportunity to have a briefing from Bertha and Jordan, and also in reviewing the department's response. I'd like to do this now. I'd like to see if commissioners have questions for Auditor Cannon or the audit team, and then I'd like to have a response from Director Clason and of course Finance Chair Darrington. So, any questions from commissioners? Commissioner Jacobson, please.
There we go. I'm not an accountant, but I took one accounting class in my entire life, so you'll have to excuse my naivety, if you will. But one of the things I guess I'm not understanding in what we have here is on the cost of goods sold. If I have a business where I am buying and then processing the and then I know what my costs are for turning it into Dumawichi, because I've put my electrical cost for the machine that does that. I have my rent and those things. And so I guess what I'm trying to find out here is, what is it that we somehow missed in the cost of goods sold that we weren't including or are allocating to some other expense?
Excellent question. And that's part of why this is an open, unresolved issue, is that's what is still trying to be figured out. It could be any number of things at this point. Quite possibly a system issue is once the data gets in, the system was not set up in a way that it's mapping properly, something like that. But again, at this point, we don't know, and maybe Todd can communicate further. I know they're still investigating the matter. But again, it's an open, unresolved issue. And so I can kind of turn it over to DABS.
Exactly how much it's costing us to be in business. And this seems like this is a very critical item, probably just as critical as the money disappearing from a store. Are we going to be able to know exactly how much it costs us to be in business, so that when we're responding to the state legislature about what our needs are and how we price our product and everything, that we know exactly how much it's costing us to do business?
Director Clason, may I just call on you for a moment to respond, and then to the auditors as well? Director Clason, please.
Absolutely. Commissioner Jacobson, as it relates to our cost of goods sold, the DABS continues to be dedicated to the research needed to determine the cause of our concern with COGS. So we share that concern. We have seen this, we see it. At present, the DABS has completed, as you know, because we've been keeping the commission up to date, for the first time ever, a full inventory count. So there's a series of things that we needed to rule out or rule in, because there are a series or multiple things that could be causing this discrepancy in COGS, right? And so while we do quarterly at a minimum, some of our stores monthly do cycle counting, right, to review our inventory counts, and we do annual sort of sample audits and counts of the warehouse. We've never had
this was a shock to me, to be quite honest, because I won't say all, most retailers do this, especially Fortune 500 retailers, do an annual full inventory count. So that was why it was so important that we do that, so that we could have a baseline, even if there was a margin of error for being, off at all, right? It was important, one, to do that so that we could have a sense of, did the inventory count result in even close to $13 million, right, discrepancy there? So that was important. I also think it was important to establish as a best practice, there's a reason that reputable retailers do this. Even small mom and pop retailers do regular inventory counts of all of their inventory, because it is an important foundation of understanding your accounting, right? And how much it is costing your business. Because you are correct, as we've been looking at this, especially since the beginning of our financial leadership transition, is we have our cost of goods sold. It's actually very simple math, even if you're not a mathematician or only have taken one, collegiate accounting class. But we have a markup, right? And then we sell the goods. So really, it should always kind of carry like this, right? So I think one of the things that I was prepared to say today, and I want to say, is that in relation to the inventory count, we had a total variance of 1.84%. Okay, the industry standard is about 1.6. So I do feel like we were within that good margin of error for where we need to be. I will also say that, having done that for the first time, we learned a lot about executing a full inventory count, and we'll make changes to even get a more efficient inventory count in the future in that way. The other thing I think I want to say, we have, as you know, Moss Adams, a CPA firm that has been acquired to really take a look at a number of things so that we do reconcile as our top priority fiscal year 25 on time and accurately. But to do that, they also have to look at COGS. And I want to be careful, because we already have several updates from them that we've shared, not only with GOPB, but LFA. So for folks that are not complete state government wonks, that is both branches of government, their budget analysts, right? So we have been in communication with them about some very optimistic results that we have, where they see some issues. And to Jordan's point, right now, those issues are looking like programming errors, right? So if our computer systems don't have the right values, or don't have the right values at the right point in the process coded in there, then it won't work, right? And so, or it won't report properly. So that is one of those things that we're continuing to get a diagnosis on. Again, I was not prepared to boldly put that in our response at this time, mainly because they're not finished with their work. And so I think it would be irresponsible to talk about their work without their work being completed in the event that something radically changes. So that's to give you insight and comfort that not only is it being looked at, discussed on a minimum weekly basis by both branches of government at a very high level. We also have a really qualified, very reputable accounting firm looking at this. And that should also hopefully provide some insight into its independent. So in addition to our team working on it, other really smart people in state government working on it, we have an independent team that is looking at this as well, right? And Todd, I don't know if there's anything else that you would cover, but that's what I can tell you about our cost of goods sold at this time.
I don't know that I have any other insight other than to say that the characterization of the importance of this is our highest priority. We recognize the fiscal year ends in 67 days, and our aim is to close out timely, accurately, and transparently. So other than to reinforce the commitment, I think Director Clayson summed it up nicely.
Commissioner Jacobson, is that okay? Other commissioners' questions? Commissioner Tui, please.
I've got two questions, and thanks for being here. Thanks for your extensive work. This is impressive. First of all, on the Type 5 package agencies, I'm just a little unclear on how you think the DABS should be improving oversight. As was pointed out, they are not DABS employees. They're completely separate entities. We sort of get what they give us, but I'm interested in your take on how that oversight could be improved.
Absolutely. And I'll start by explaining why it is important. So you're correct. They are not a part of DABS. The reason that it really matters to get the stuff is because they are still subject to the statutory earmarks. And so when a type 5 says, okay, this is the amount of sales we got, and this is there, it's self-reported. DABS then uses that self-reported data to determine how much they want to, or how much they're going to collect to fund these earmarks. So if a type 5 underreports their sales, then those earmarks are not necessarily getting the fund that they're statutorily entitled to. And so what we would look at, and again, Todd can probably speak to this a little bit more. I know they have some things in the works, but one thing that we noticed is every single year, there's an annual audit on each type 5 package agency. And part of that, they'll go through and look and make sure, okay, we can pull data from your point of sale system to compare, but there's no further step that says, okay, you can actually tie their sales report to this. And we did that for several of the sample items that we looked at, but nobody's just necessarily looking at it. That's one option. There are other different ways you can do it. It doesn't necessarily have to be one size fits all, but as long as something is being done to just ensure that what is being reported correctly actually matches what's happening.
Okay, okay, thank you for that. My other question was related to the comment about staffing, and the importance of staffing, that the auditor made. And I agree. I think that my comment is maybe more of a comment. Maybe I should save it. I'm gonna save it.
Do it.
Well, is now the time to comment, or would you like to wait? Okay,
Time to comment.
here's
please.
my comment. I think it's interesting that as a revenue generating agency, it may be the largest revenue generating agency of the state,
Yes.
Other than the tax commission, maybe. We do not have control over the revenues we're bringing into the state. As you've pointed out, I mean, they are earmarked. We have issues retaining and investing in our staff in ways other agencies do not. For instance, we recently lost a extremely talented staff member to another branch. We lost it to the legislature because they can pay double what we can pay. We do not have the ability to have control over our own revenue and reinvest that revenue in staff to implement the very important things that you bring up to light today. So I think my comment is maybe a complaint also, but I think that it's, time that as an agency, we're able to actually take those revenues and invest in this business entity that the state has entrusted us with to do the job that we're expected and required to do. And I think that, I think maybe that's enough said, but I do think that I agree with the audit finding and the recommendation from the auditor. I only wish we had more control over the funds that we bring into the state to be able to implement these findings that you're emphasizing. Thank you.
Chair Handy, would you allow me to respond?
Lieutenant, please.
I appreciate the comments from the commissioner, and it's one of the reasons why I'm publicly making this recommendation.
Auditor's final recommendation, and would just underline
Sorry, it's
for a completely free market operation, then there would be more investment in the types of support that the auditor is referencing. And so it's hard for me to actually even follow up that very important point with a pretty small question, but just for, because we have you in front of us and we have your expert staff in front of us, going to recommendation, I think it was, finding 8, where you're talking about that transmission of data to the finance system. You mentioned that you've all tested that the department is perhaps using something like Excel, and then potentially R or something would be helpful in massaging that data. What data software did analytics software did you use to replicate?
Yeah, and Todd, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. My understanding was that the process was run through Excel, which really struggled to handle that level of data.
Yes.
We used a system called IDEA. It's a standard data manipulation software. And so what was taking DABS staff typically a couple days to a week, our data analytics person was able to do in about a couple hours.
That's great.
There's other things out there, I think Tableau or something. I mean, there's just any kind of off-the-shelf thing really should help, just
Great.
as long as it's not a basic spreadsheet program, can
Yeah,
really help
gotcha.
streamline that.
Great, thank you for
And
that.
it is important to note there
Yeah.
with that, although there were difficulties, we did not see any
Great,
errors in
yeah.
how it was transmitted, so it was done correctly, but you do run the risk when you're running it through a basic spreadsheet program of having errors pop up.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then even to underline my colleague's point again, that's a way of streamlining things, making things more efficient, making sure that we're minimizing error, but it also takes training and someone who knows what they're doing to operate that type of software. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I have some comments if there's just a response.
Director Clayson, would you please now some additional response, please?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners. And Auditor Cannon, thank you so much. I know you're joining us remotely, but I appreciate you reviewing this, as of course you're statutorily required to do. But I do appreciate your presentation. I appreciate your remarks. I know I do this every year, but it's genuine. I appreciate the time that all of your staff take to understand our issues, understand the approaches we're taking to mitigate and address, operational and financial risk. They do a really good job, I feel like, at listening. Of course, it doesn't mean that it doesn't end in findings and recommendations, because that's the entire point of the audit. But I have to tell you that I do feel like there's never been a time where us as an agency, DABS staff, either at the most senior level down to middle management, have ever said like, God, like I don't feel like they understand what we're trying to tell them, or if we do need to maybe re-explain or provide additional information, that they're not attempting to get it. They really work to get it, and in the end, have an understanding of what we're trying to communicate, right? At least. And so I do just want to tell you that I'm yet again very impressed with your staff, and I appreciate the difficult job your staff have in auditing. So many entities and people, all Utahns, rely on our revenue really for really important things. And so I'd like to just tell you that I completely agree with you as it relates to ensuring that we have qualified staff that receive training, that are credentialed. And that's one of the things that, especially since last summer, that we've been working on, making sure that our staff have the right capacity, that their basic structure, their workload is appropriate and is relevant to the things that they're working on. You didn't mention this, but we've been discussing it as a management team in the last, couple of months, and especially the last couple of weeks, amongst ourselves and then with other auditors, is that we need additional internal auditor employees. So likely with a focus on field work. But I think that that's really important as an almost $600 million revenue generator. We have one internal auditor, and our internal auditor is here today, and does a great job. But again, for a almost $600 million entity, and all that we're tasked to be responsible with when looking at Type 5 PAs, looking at our inventory controls, looking at our cash management at stores. We have internal controls in place. I will tell you, we need to make them more robust. We are committed to making them more robust. But we also need to make sure that those controls, as we're building those layers of control up, that they're not just lateral. The very basic purpose or need of an internal control is that also lateral, right? Part of that inspection, so that you have outside of that downline looking in and providing greater capacity there, because one person can't do all of that. We would have the ability to have more testing and more oversight, kind of to your point. That would be really useful and really, really helpful. And again, that's coming as a result of conversations with other auditors too. And I hope
one of the takeaways to not only your team, Auditor Cannon, but also to others that are working with us on improvements is we're committed and have been committed from the very beginning to a culture of improvement. And I have said that since I came on board. I knew that we would have extensive improvements to make in all aspects of our mission at the DABC at the time. I didn't know how extensive they would be. And as we start making progress down one path and in one section of our mission and responsibilities, as luck have it or fate has it, we realize that we've got significant improvements that need to be made in another. And frankly, I completely agree with you. This is the most important thing. We've got exciting things going on here, but none of those really matter. Future right? And so we are making that a priority. So just not to be too verbose, but I do want to make sure we cover a couple of things for the record. We're actively prioritizing how we can improve our policies and procedures. We're working with the commission to prioritize and increase, as I mentioned, our internal audit team. We're also looking at ways that our DABS team members, as I mentioned, independent of the operations team, again, looking at that not lateral, right, oversight, but kind of coming out of that lateral downline for how they can take on internal control functions and add additional layers of oversight that are already built in, right, for our team. Our current restructure and organizational chart changes that we're going to talk about in another agenda item, I think are coming at a perfect time. I wish they had come sooner. And to your point, Auditor Cannon and to Bertha, had they come sooner, it is hard. I cannot state how difficult and time consuming a restructure is. It's very intensive. It also needs to be done, and it's worth making that investment in time, in mental bandwidth and emotional bandwidth to get it done, because I'm committed that we're going to leave things better than we found it. I just also want to make sure that we understand that, and this is important to the commission, not only to Auditor Cannon. We understand that our reconciliation issues are over multiple years. I believe we'd be further along in these corrections, but I needed to make a massive change last summer as it related to our financial leadership. Like any transition, even when you plan it as to go as smoothly as possible, it's disruptive. And so I'll admit that that was a disruptive, that decision, while I'm affirmed in how I made that decision and the need to make that decision, it was disruptive. And so it has cost us a little bit of time in making some team weekly calls with our both branches of government budget analyst. And I've even temporarily paused our current tech projects to make sure that every single existing resource that we have is being dedicated solely to our reconciliation improvements. So that it is our focus. When I say it's our top priority, it is because it's positive. Again, none of those things really matter if we can't get this taken care of. I also just want to make sure the commission is aware that as it relates recommendations, we know that this likely started prior to our reconciliation issues. And so I do think it's important because of that the commission knows that the DABS financial employee that was performing reconciliations at that time is no longer employed with us. Of course, our staff member that's doing these reconciliations now is doing a really good job, especially with the tools that he has that are not quite where they need to be. We also want to make sure that you're aware that we're working with this employee is no longer working for us, the one that is the subject of the actual cash short. And we're working with the Attorney General's office regarding the investigation of that employee now. So any theft of any kind is absolutely wrong. It happens in retail all the time. That's an explanation. It's not an excuse because our retail is tied to the taxpayer in really significant and meaningful ways, mitigating that risk as much as possible, even to a greater degree than private sector retail, is very, very important. So I just lastly, I've had the opportunity to address the cost of goods sold, which was part of what I wanted to make sure that we addressed here. I did want to allow Todd just very quickly. There was a comment made about our clearing accounts, and we have made progress on our clearing accounts. And so I just wanted to give him an opportunity to discuss that. And then commissioners that ask questions about the efficiency, as the auditor's office mentioned, trying to streamline the data analytics in the meantime. We actually are working with our partners at DTS to do that. And so Todd, could you speak very quickly, because I know we've taken a lot of time on just both of those things as an update?
Absolutely. So just for everyone's awareness, related to clearing accounts and the use of that has historically occurred for DABS, our process has changed. We no longer utilize clearing accounts for our cash receipts or our journal voucher process. There is some adjustment still needed on our payable documents to prevent those from being listed in a clearing account. However, our process across the board has adjusted in a way where we no longer have that significant lag time at the end of the fiscal year to make any corrections or adjustments or movements in our accounts. They're coming in correct up front and then being reconciled. And we're proud to report that July through March have all been transmitted without the use of clearing accounts so far. In regards to the use of a data analytics software, Tiffany mentioned that there was the use of our partners over at the Division of Technology Services. The aim behind that is a fully automated process rather than going through a third party or another software system. The goal there is to prevent the need for any manual intervention of any kind. That process is actually in its phase of testing, and we've got confirmation from the subject matter experts, both in the Division of Finance and DTS, that we are going the right direction. We're just going to go through some final testing. We should be able to implement an automated transmittal that prevents the use of Excel or please.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you so much for being here. Your report was very informative and, well received as great information for us to see where we can improve and move forward. I had more of a comment than a question, but Todd actually may have just turned it into a question. So, I do feel like we are often compared, sometimes unfavorably, with corporations and groups that are of a similar size but don't have the resource issues that we deal with. And along those lines, I was struck. I don't remember, it might have been Bertha who was mentioning that you had software that very quickly, very quickly identified these, particular situations that we weren't able to identify. And I think part of that was kind of the catch up we'd been stuck in with the D365 implementation. But, I sit and wonder, okay, an organization of our size producing the amount of money or providing the amount of money that we provide to the state government for these very important things, why do we not have software that would very efficiently and accurately identify these these situations? And I just I know what a struggle it is for the legislature to balance their budget, and we struggle as well. But I feel like with the amount of capital we are providing, I just wonder why we don't have just a software program that so efficiently and accurately identifies these problems. and Todd, I think, was kind of touching on that. And I just wondered, like, do we have something in the works that would, is that what you're discussing? Is that what you are specifically addressing?
Yes, Commissioner, the aim here is that we have tools available that perhaps haven't been utilized effectively. And our aim in a lot of the enhancements we've been discussing inside of DABS and with you at our monthly subcommittee meetings is the progress we're making to turn those tools on, to utilize them to their full efficacy. And those just haven't had an opportunity to come to fruition, but it's part of what we're doing. The aim behind that is that the next time we get to see our lovely state auditors, there's one finding or none. So.
Okay, I just wanted to address that because when you were speaking, I was struck by, wait, why don't we have that too? So grateful to all of you for your work.
Vice Chair Terrason, please.
Yeah, I think I'll just give one final remark, hopefully. And thank you guys for the findings. I joined the commission not long after Director Clayson took the helm and have seen so many changes, even just from digitizing records to taking online payments. So I think if we look at where we started just a few years ago to where we are now, these problems are really a result of all of the good work also and changes that have happened really rapidly. And I think that our DABS staff, we've seen a lot of changes internally as well that have made a lot of great improvements. And we're just constantly improving. And so I think under Director Clayson's leadership, I don't know what this audit would have looked like 5 years ago under different leadership. So I'm really proud of the changes that have made. And I hear from the public quite often as well how much the changes have improved at the bars and restaurants and their experience. So while I think it's great that we have these findings and I see and I believe all of the efforts that DABS is making to improve upon those, I just want to also say that we've done a great job and under Tiffany's leadership as well.
Thank you very much. I think that exhausts those of us on the dais. We will have to, we have a requirement to accept the audit. Anything from you, Auditor Cannon, and your team in conclusion, please?
So I would like to go back to thank Director Clayson for her comments. And the struggle is real in retaining qualified accounting staff in Utah state government.
Yeah, it just sounds that Auditor Cannon is having some audio issues.
Thank you very much. We will continue. I will call for a motion, but I just wanted to make a comment, and that is that, yeah, I think we can make the comment a little bit of scathing audit here. And it's the theft is unfortunate. It does happen in retail, but that doesn't excuse it. The difficulties with closing out and the reconciliation. And so I think speaking for the seven of us part-time commissioners, I think everything I see in my role is that the department director is extremely serious and takes it very seriously that you are dealing with and safeguarding public funds. I don't think there's any question about that. Efficiencies are needed. And in my briefing with the auditors, with Bertha and Jordan, it was Commissioner Handy, the momentum appears to be very, very positive, and we're very grateful for that. And so I think speaking for all of us that we urge you, Commissioner, and your staff, with all expediency as you have already expressed, to address these issues as expeditiously and quickly as you can, and to continue to be professional as a state entity, as well as much as a state entity can be. You know, it's a different world. But we know that you take this very seriously, and the commissioners take this very seriously, and we appreciate that. And so with that, I would like to call on commissioners for a motion to accept report number 20501, the Department of Alcohol Beverage Services agreed upon procedures as presented. Commissioner Orton, move to approve. A second, please.
Second.
Commissioner Tui, please. A roll call vote, please, Vicky.
Vice Chair Terrazon.
Aye.
Commissioner Tui.
Aye.
Commissioner Tennant.
Aye.
Commissioner Orton.
Aye.
Commissioner Jacobson.
Aye.
Commissioner Owens. Aye. Chair Handy.
Aye. Thank you very much. That passes, and we believe that Commissioner Owens was able to approve that. So thank you very much for being here. If you'd like to stay for the rest of the meeting, you're certainly welcome, or will we excuse you as well. Before we move on, I wanted to mention that Ogden City Mayor Ben Dodowski came in to greet us. He was called to another meeting, and we appreciate him and the staff. We have an Ogden City Councilman here, Bart Blair, who will be addressing us in his capacity as a small business owner, but we express to him as well and to the mayor and staff their appreciation for their accommodations here in Ogden City today. We would have been having a report now from Doug Murakami, who's the alcohol prevention director. He is excused today for other responsibilities. We'll now have number 5, our financial update from Mr. Darrington.
Thank you, Chair Handy. The financial update for the period 9, which ends March 31st of 2025, is in your packets. Revenues for this period were down about 3% from the same period of the last year, a total of $22,120,000 for this fiscal year compared to $22,954,000 in the last fiscal year. Expenses during the same period are a decrease from year to year of about 13%. So you'll note that expenses are decreasing at a faster rate than sales are flattening. Expenses for this period were $7.8 million compared to $9 million for the last period, or for the same period of last year. This leads to a healthy general profit transfer of approximately $9.5 million for the period ending March 31st of 2025. During this month, we have generated $149,499 for the Pamela Atkinson Homelessness Fund, and I'm proud to report that all bank reconciliations and data transmittals are complete through the period ending March 31st of 2025. Are there any questions I can answer today?
Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Darrington, please? Thank you very much. Don't see any. We will move on. Thank you very much. We now have item number 8, the operations update from Director Clayson.
Great. I am going to do the, I'm going to quickly review. I know we've talked about it with you all in subcommittees, the department organizational chart revisions. In your package, you received a proposed new organizational chart. All the proposed changes are budget neutral, so I would like to make sure that as we've been looking through and making all of these decisions and really strategizing on how to build a solid org chart, making sure that again, that we're being financially responsible. The restructure considers the 4 main pillars of our department responsibilities, and I'm going to quickly review these. First, a robust retail operation built upon purchasing and warehousing products for strategic distribution and placement. 2, sound and strategic finance department that uses data to make decisions about how to responsibly manage resources while maintaining accurate record keeping for consistent accountability measures. Third pillar, statutorily defined licensing and regulatory mission, basis of what we're about to do here in the rest of the meeting, overseen by the Division of Compliance and Licensing. And then 4th, a safety mission and education mission to educate about the dangers and misuse of alcohol and prevent the harms caused by alcohol consumption. Of responsibilities for executive leadership and senior leadership. And then secondly, a hierarchy of work and responsibilities that is relevant and germane, right? Making sure it all makes sense and that capacities are taken care of and efficiencies are in place. The first major change, recommended or proposed change, is creating a managing director of operations. Because the retail operation is the foundational core of what we do, and as discussed, the generator of most of our largesse, right, in terms of revenue generation. This area needs and deserves focused attention. So this I'll get to that. It previously fell under the Deputy Director of Operations, who had to divide his time between Deputy Director responsibilities, as well as all things retail and administration duties. It's too much for one position, and the position is mission critical for our retail operations success, especially during a time domestically where we're seeing alcohol consumption kind of flatten, right? That's a discussion for another time. But
it's important now that we're managing those expenses that Todd alluded to in his financial report and really optimizing revenue to the highest degree we can. Asterisks, and we can't promote or advertise. So this creates a new position, the managing reporting to me. Purchasing and merchandising, as I mentioned it as an earlier agenda item, have been two separate teams. Those are now combined into one team led by a division director of consumer purchasing and merchandising. This is, I can't tell you behind the scenes, this is going to create a better collaboration and coordination between those two teams. And I also think our customers in the hospitality sector, right, who are needing to acquire products for their purposes, right, as well as John Q. Public and Jane Q. Public, they're going to see be the beneficiaries of this as well. The next proposed change is the Director of Finance and Administration. So keep two keywords, and administration. So as you know, Todd Darrington has been doing a great job as our finance director. Part of that disruption I mentioned earlier, but healthy, and we're headed in the right direction. Something you may not know is that behind the scenes, so when we think of state government and the executive branch, DGO, a lot of what they do there is DGO based, right, and relevant and adjacent. So his title change and position changes to Director of Finance and Administration with an expanded portfolio. So what used to be under Director of Operations now goes under there for our business analysts, our capital projects, our security contract management, and our fleet management. Again, better sets capacity. It also has these teams, FTEs, these responsibilities in a more germane part of the org chart. The type of internal controls, the culture for responsibility and oversight, I think is going to help those things thrive, to be quite frank. We also have the help desk, which is going to transition onto our Director of Communication and External Affairs. This is another natural move, recognizing that the help desk is essentially a communication function of the department. It not only provides, I see like a tiny little clap, an internal communication focus, it also provides an external communication internally and then externally. It's going to be a great move, I think, not only for our Director of Communication and but for the team itself that's going to be under her leadership and advancement there. So those are the major changes. We will have something before you next month for your consideration and approval for who will assume that interim managing director role. We've already been in discussions with you guys about that, but we want to make sure to present that next month. There's a lot for you all to consider, and we hope that you will approve it before you this month. Are there any questions about these changes?
Seeing none, Director, thank you very much. I had mentioned the operations update, but was actually the department organizational chart revisions. Now, are you prepared to give us the operations update?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, we have one item, which I know will excite everyone. This is I know a longer commission meeting than we've had in a long time. We opened the Foothills store. Yay! Yeah, very excited. As you know, that store, we had hoped to open that store. I hate to say years with an S, but that is the case. The new store in Foothill neighborhood is now open for business. We had a really successful store opening with participation from the Salt Lake Area Restaurant Association, a local community member, the community representative for that area, David Lita, gave really positive remarks praising the DABS staff for listening to the community throughout the design and build as it relates to concerns that they had. And so, we couldn't address all of the concerns because we partner with people like transportation and a whole other host of people that are involved in these decisions. But we did work really hard throughout this project, and we'll continue to solicit feedback, to then actually take that solicited feedback and action it, right, in a meaningful way for things that are within our control. So we appreciate that. Opening the new store, it's all hands on deck, and I'm so grateful for those of you that were able to join us, for all of our staff that made it happen, and for, I know it's taking a bit of time for the community members to remember they're not at the temporary location anymore, they're at the new location. Just a quick little plug is this is also one of our commissioners' neighborhood stores. So I don't know if she'll have any comments about that at all, but we're happy to have this thing open.
That's me. It's my store.
My store.
I have had the opportunity to shop there now. It was great. The staff was very knowledgeable. I found the product selection was better than the leaking basement store that we were previously. I mean, we're not there anymore. It's fine. I think it's great, and it's just a testament to the good work that the department did to make this happen, and working hand in hand with the community. I attend community council meetings. I know it was a hot topic for a long time. The department did everything they could to accommodate, and wanted to say, when I did stop by the store, the parking lot was already full. I had to circle for a spot. So it's, the word is out, and go check it out.
I did. I was at the grand opening, and it is an impressive store. Congratulations to everyone. To former employee, I wanted to say to Kate Meyer, who just did great things there to help that store get open. So,
Chair Handy, could I make one
Please.
final comment? I think it probably is important in talking about investment here. I would love to thank our legislative leads and the folks both in the executive branch, the governor's office, GOPB, and then of course on the legislative side that prioritize these investments. We cannot refurbish old stores. We cannot bring these new stores online. I think by last count, we were like 14 or 15 stores short of what statute would allow. Without the support from both branches of government from a funding perspective. And so we, of course, are appreciative of that, not only as a agency in operation, but I know our consumers as well and the businesses that rely on these stores.
does that conclude your operations?
Yes,
report?
sir.
Thank you very much. I want to mention that we excuse Vice Chair Terrazon, who was called to another meeting. So we'll now move to number 9,
Chair?
our violations, please.
Excuse me.
Please, Commissioner.
Commissioner Tenner pointed out to me that
Thank you very much for that.
I would like to
calling-
make a
calling that.
motion
Thank
that
you.
we
With that, now we have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Tui,
aye.
Commissioner Orton, Chair Handy.
Aye. That is approved and accepted by the commission. Thank you for that assistance, commissioners. We'll now move to our violations, number 9, from our Assistant Attorney General, Sam McHenry.
Thank you, Chair, Commissioners. We have 14 items on the consent calendar today with settlement agreements in place, ready for commission action, and they are considered as one block vote unless any of the commissioners would like to call out one or more items for
Thank you very much.
consideration.
Comments or questions from commissioners? We'll look for we've thoroughly vetted these in our subcommittees, I want to mention.
I was going to move to.
Thank you.
To accept the consent calendar.
Thank you very much. And a second from Commissioner Orton. That was Commissioner Jacobson on the motion for approval. Commissioner Orton, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Tui. Commissioner Tenner.
Aye.
Commissioner Orton.
Aye.
Commissioner Jacobson.
10, the licensee recognitions from Director Clayson.
Thank you, Chair Handy. We have both in your commission packets and projected here on the screens, recognizing over 104 licensees that passed their inspections last month. So like always, we love to just point them out, especially right after you all are looking at and approving the items related to violations. We appreciate all of these operators across the state that are working really hard to be safety-minded, to make sure that they're in compliant, their operations are in alignment and compliance with the law. So we thank these licensees, our customers in the hospitality community, and thank you, Commission, for giving us an opportunity to share this information and data with you.
Thank you very, very much, Director. We'll now move to item number 11, and this is the license renewal reminders from Jeremy Summerlath, please.
Yeah, good morning, Commissioners. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Just a quick reminder for the world. um, renewals for the liquor transport license will end April 30th. So for those 4 licensees, yeah, please get those in on time. That would be brilliant. And then make those on time as well. That will open May 1st. You can't renew before. It will open on May 1.
Does that conclude your report?
Yes, it does. Thank you
very
ever so much.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. We'll now move to item number 12, our consent calendar from Brian Swan, our Deputy Director of Legal and Regulatory Affairs. Mr. Swan, please.
Thank you, Chair. So on the consent agenda, we have 9 items in total listed there, one of which is the approval of the meeting minutes from last month's meeting. These licensees have all been thoroughly vetted. They have been discussed in subcommittees. All applications are complete. So unless the commissioners have any individual questions on respective licensees listed there, it's you're with a vote.
Thank you very much. Questions by Commissioner Orton, please. Do it.
It says Airport Lounge and then it says PF Chang's. Oh, sorry, I forgot to turn my mic on. Anyway, I'm confused. Is it just a question of verbiage that I have here? Because I always think of airport lounges as being associated with like airline or a credit card or something like that. Is this what is this? What is
Craig, Rob, can I defer to you guys on the specifics on that?
Jeremy, please.
Jeremy again?
Yeah, happy to explain that. So the airport lounge is like a restaurant or a restaurant with a bar.
Okay.
Those restaurants that you can patron in the airport. The Delta Sky Lounge, for example, is not an airport lounge. It is an amenity.
So this is open to the public?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great.
Yes,
great.
and it's just a change of ownership for the restaurant in the airport.
Just checking.
Yes.
Thanks.
No, I think it's a great question. That was helpful to me too. Thank you very much. So now, Commissioners, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda, please. Commissioner Orton, that is the motion to approve. And a second, please, Commissioner Tui. So moved, second. So now we'll have, please, a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Tui. Commissioner Tenner.
Aye.
Commissioner Orton.
Aye.
Commissioner Jacobson.
Aye.
Commissioner Owens.
Aye.
Chair Handy.
Aye. That passes. We're now moving to item number 13. We have Rob Hansen now to help us, the training program manager. He will present the bar establishment.
Good
Go
morning,
ahead, Rob.
Commissioners.
Yes.
We first have 2 changes of ownerships for the bars. The first is the Leprechaun Pub and Grill in Murray. This application is complete. And then we have Benji's Bar in Tooele. This one is no longer conditional. It is complete. Meets statutory requirements.
Thank you very much. Any questions from commissioners? We'll now proceed to a motion and a second and a vote for the license change of ownerships, please. Commissioner Jacobson, a motion to approve. A second from Commissioner Orton. Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Tui.
Aye.
Commissioner Tenner.
Aye.
Commissioner Orton.
Aye.
Commissioner Jacobson.
Aye.
Commissioner Owens.
Aye.
Chair Handy.
Aye. Thank you very much. That passes. We'll now move to all other applicants, Rob.
All right, for new bar applications, we have 11 full-year bar licenses available for the entire state. And we have 3 applicants. The first is High West Distillery in Park City. They are actually surrendering a full-service restaurant license upon receipt of this license. Their application is complete. Our only conditional is Mono Take Club in Salt Lake City, and they do have a violation history. And then we have Apparition in Salt Lake City. This one is complete.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, please. Commissioner Jacobson.
Yes, I would move to table item number 3, Apparition.
Thank you very much. Would you like to speak to that?
Yes, this appeared on the agenda, I believe yesterday for the first time. And what we've been doing in our committees is we've been going through the full analyzing of the license, the ability to manage, and all the factors that go into our decision to decide whether to award a license or not. And since the subcommittees have not had a chance to look at this, I think it's only appropriate that we do that, so that we do the same with them as we have with the other applicants for both bars and restaurants.
Thank you very much. We haven't had a second, but I think we'll go ahead and continue to discuss this,
I'll make
Commissioner.
a second just so we can have a
Thank you,
discussion.
and I appreciate that's what I wanted. So thank you. We have a second. So now further discussion, Commissioners. Commissioner Tanner.
I want to make sure that I folder for Apparition in our information. I just want to make sure that that's not a me thing.
It's not there.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you address that, Rob?
Yeah, it was just barely added. I don't know if Brian wants to talk about adding it just yesterday.
Yeah, so we have had concerns during the application process on proximity issues, and the applicant had satisfied those as of this week. So yes, it was recently added. We were on the phone with them. We were doing meetings. We got all the information that we requested from the department's end to make sure proximity was satisfied. So it moved forward very, very recently, and that's why it is, sprung up, and we don't have the folder yet in there.
Thank you very much. May I please, if this would be permissible, to ask just to have any kind of a clarification, if need be, from Mr. McHenry or Mr. Swan on the commission's legal standing here regarding this motion?
Yeah, I will, I'll defer to Sam, but Sam and I have been kind of consulting over here in our legal corner, so to speak. So yes, I'll defer to Sam on this.
Thank you, Chair. Just to remind the commissioners that once the department has made the finding that they have met the statutory requirements, the commission still, this is under 32B5-203, the commission shall determine that the application is complete and compliance with. Then there's some physical attributes to the premises, operational factors such as demographics, parking issues, and they also can consider the person's ability to manage and operate a retail license, and that includes management experience, past retail, alcoholic product experience, and any other factor the commission considers necessary.
Questions from commissioners to Mr. Let's see, Commissioner Tennant first, and then.
Well, and so going back to the information in the folder. So normally we're provided, give us the square footage, you give us the parking availability, the demographics. Like normally we look at all of that, and I just want to make sure that, again, I'm not missing anything. But I haven't seen that stuff yet. Is that right? Or we haven't seen that stuff yet.
Briefed, but that would be the time where you would have all that information and be able to thoroughly, take a look at that.
Okay, thank you.
It is in the BAR 2.0 spreadsheet, but your copies were made before that was added. So it's on the working copy.
Gotcha. Okay.
Commissioner Orton, please.
Thank
you, Chair. So, Mr. Swan, I guess this is two different points. My first question is, if this had come to our subcommittees, would we have, under these circumstances, would we have had any discretion, seeing as how we have licenses available? Would we have had the discretion
to make any determination other than to award the license anyway?
That's a great question, Commissioner. So the statute Sam and I have been looking at says that your discretion is based on the requirements of the title, not the application being complete, but that the applicant has satisfied all the requirements of the title. Part of the requirements of the title for the commissioners is to make several considerations down 203. I think it's 203. It says, consider this, consider this, consider this. Which, to this point, there has been no subcommittee to consider those factors and those items. So as far as, the heart of your question, whether this would be a streamlined approval, I think kind of bears on these considerations that normally would take place.
Commissioners, I represent Apparition and I'm on the phone if you can hear me.
Everything that is in the list that you describe, and they have concurred that it is a good application and have no issues.
If that's the case, then yeah, you could move forward. Yep.
To move forward on this license, or do we need to table it? And so
I think that's a question for the commissioners because the statute has the considerations. Like I said, the application is complete. The technical requirements of the application itself have been satisfied.
Okay.
So we are satisfied to put it on the agenda and before you. The considerations are what it sounds like are being discussed of whether those are complete or not.
Okay, thank you. And then one comment. Vice Chair Terrazon had to leave early, but she did leave a note with me that says that she believes that if Apparition meets the statutory requirements, then they should get their license. So I just wanted to get that on the record.
Thank you for sharing that. Jeremy, you wanted to, you're okay, you're good. We're having a wide kind of ranging discussion here. Commissioner Jacobson, anything to add on your motion, sir?
My motion is basically to give the subcommittees the opportunity to review various different items of information that may relate to the management functions and the other remaining discretionary items that the commissioners have in connection with issuing a license. And since this was one of those things that just appeared, I believe, yesterday or the day before on the agenda, it's inconsistent with the manner in which the last few years we've been dealing with examining all of these licensees to assure that they do meet not just the statutory application requirement, but also that they are fit to, and a proper applicant to have a license.
Thank you. Commissioner Tui, please.
Comment to the motion that Commissioner Jacobson has made. The commission used to be, I don't know, a hot mess. Like before every single commission meeting.
That's what I've heard. Go ahead.
Things would get sprung onto the agenda with, well, we wrapped everything up and so now here it is. And now you have to figure out what your position is 5 minutes before the commission meeting or during a commission meeting. We're still getting fed facts. That doesn't happen anymore. We have a process. We have these subcommittee meetings. Meetings and make time to also dig into the applications and all of the information that staff gathers. That was not the case with this application. We were given no information ahead of this meeting. I have questions. In my other job, I work with the legislature often, and there was a law passed recently prohibiting contracting with entities that boycott the state of Israel, for example. Yeah. I have questions about whether this applicant would fall under this prohibition on contracting or not. That is not something I can dig into in this public meeting, nor do I think
dig into this specific application with all of the information that the commission is expected to weigh and consider. So I will be supporting the motion to table this until next committee, our next commission meeting, when we have all of the information, have had time to vet it. And at that time, I would support moving forward as long as everything seems like it's in line. At this time, I don't have that information.
Thank you, Commissioner Tui. You have former chair of our commission, Commissioner Tennant, Commissioner Jacobson. You all have vast experience here, and we appreciate that. Any other commission comments before we call for a vote? Thank you very much. I would like to just chair prerogative to also mention that I have concerns, and I would be willing to call a special commission meeting. And I know working on this for a long time, and I can appreciate this is a business decision for him and a concern, and we appreciate that. And I hope that perhaps if the commission determines that a couple more weeks in delay wouldn't be that egregious in this situation. So I'd like to call for a vote. We won't be able to hear, I don't think, from Commissioner Owens. We can't see. It's not, it's just that thing. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 commissioners here.
Online. She could type her vote.
Yeah, she could text a vote. Okay. Commissioner Owens, if you'd like to text either me or
Chat in the Zoom.
or chat in the Zoom would be fine too, and Vicky can relay that. So let's go ahead with roll call vote. Vicky, please.
Commissioner Tui.
So what we're voting on, commissioners, is the motion is to table. So it would be yes to table or yay to table, nay to move forward.
Aye.
Commissioner Tenner. Aye. Commissioner.
I have a text from her. She votes aye,
Okay,
and I vote aye as well.
thank you.
So that applicant for apparition is tabled. That leaves us now with back to High West and Mono Tape Club, correct, everyone?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Jacobson?
I move to award licenses to items to 1 and 2, which is High West Distillery and Mono Tap Club.
Thank you very much. Second, please. Commissioner Orton, the second, please. Roll call vote, please, Vicky.
Commissioner Tui.
Aye.
Commissioner Tenner. Aye. Commissioner Orton. Aye. Commissioner Jacobson.
Aye.
Commissioner Owens. Chair Handy.
Aye. Those are approved. Thank you very much, Rob. We'll now move to the restaurant full service. Craig, if you'd like to come forward and present these two.
Thank you, Chair Handy. Good morning, Commissioners. Our first item for our restaurant full service applications is a license change of ownership. This is Red Lotus Bistro in Salt Lake City. That application is complete and they do meet the statutory requirements.
Thank you very much. This requires a motion and a second, please, Commissioners. Commissioner Orton,
I'll make that
move
motion.
for approval. A second, please. Commissioner Tui, thank you very much. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Tui.
Aye.
Commissioner Tenner. Aye. Commissioner Jacobson.
Aye.
Commissioner Orton. Aye. Commissioner Owens. Chair Handy.
Aye. All other applicants, please now, Craig.
Okay, thank you. So this meeting, we do have 57 year-round restaurant full service licenses available. Additionally, we do have 3 summer seasonal restaurant full service licenses available. Items 1, 2, and 3, that is Smothered Burrito 2 Inc. in Salt Lake City, Landmark Grill in Midvale, and Swain's at CB&M in Roosevelt. Those applications are complete and meet the conditional requirements. Items number 4, 5, and 6, these applications are complete, although they are conditional. They do meet the statutory requirements for a conditional license. That is Annie's Cafe in Bountiful, Wild Peru LLC in Taylorsville, and Wingnuts in St. George. Items 7, 8, 9, and 10, these have projected future opening dates. The applications are complete and they do meet the statutory requirements for conditional licenses. That is Hampton Inn and Suites in Salt Lake City, Catracho's Restaurant 2 in West Valley City, Street Eat Sunset LLC in St. George, and Conestoga Ranch in Garden City. I do want to note that item number 10 is requesting a summer seasonal license.
Yes, there it is noted, Conestoga Ranch, a summer seasonal. All right, commissioners, we have now all other applicants, please. A motion, please, for.
So moved.
So moved, Mr. Jacobson. Second from Commissioner Orton, please. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Tui.
Aye.
Commissioner Tenner. Aye. Commissioner Orton. Aye. Commissioner Jacobson.
Aye.
Commissioner Owens. Chair Handy.
Aye. Those are approved. Now, let's see. My agenda says do we need another motion here, or we've approved all other applications, haven't we? We're good to move on, aren't we?
Yeah.
So as we know, we have gone through the administrative rules. The commissioners have been briefed on those in the subcommittee meetings. Those rules consist primarily of clarification. Yes, a little bit of latitude on how to handle violations where multiple violations are found within the same investigation. Other than that, there is an insertion of a training requirement with the interdicted person legislation so that DABs can put that in rule that we are required to create a training on that subject. So unless the commissioners have any questions, the rules as proposed are attached to the agenda for the public to view and review. We would need a motion on approving the rules as proposed for period. By law, there is a minimum 30-day comment period, but it can be a few months as well. So it's your discretion on how long you would like that public comment period to be. I have the dates here of how those all outline with the bulletin and the publications if you have questions on that public comment period.
Thank you very much. Questions from commissioners? Seeing none, our requirement is now to proceed with to approve the rules as drafted. That then would be submitted to the Office of Administrative Rules. So a motion, please. Commissioner Tennant.
Approve it's drafted.
Thank you for noting that. Thank you. And a second, please,
Second.
Commissioner. And a second from Commissioner Tui. Thank you very much. Roll call vote, please, Vicki.
Commissioner Tui.
Aye.
Commissioner Tenner. Commissioner Orton. Aye. Commissioner Jacobson. Commissioner Owens. Chair Handy.
Aye.
Commissioner Owens is texting me her vote.
Thank you very much. That's fine. Yeah, we trust you, Vicki. Commissioner or Director Clayson for a moment, please.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out, and I apologize for not doing this before the vote. What I'm going to say does not impact the vote. But Commissioner Tenner, the last time that we were in the rulemaking process, there was some feedback that we had received from a trade association and a group, and you said, that you supported with the rules moving forward, but given how tedious and how much time it takes, right, to follow the full process of getting a rule passed, that you would just like to see when we undergo the rulemaking process again for us to incorporate that feedback in a rule change. And so I just wanted to make sure, I know you're aware of this because you've studied what you guys were presented, but I think it's important because a lot of times you all might sit up here and we go, we'll follow up. So I wanted to make sure that not only you, but the trade association, we heard you, we made sure that feedback was not forgotten and incorporated that the next time that we helped support you all in kicking off the rulemaking process. So just wanted to call that out.
Thank you very much.
Chair Handy.
Mr.
Can I make one comment?
You may, please.
Okay, with the motion passed, just so the commission is aware and the public, so these rules will be filed, they will be in the bulletin, and they will be published on May 15th, and the 30-day process will begin on that day with that publication. We will then reconvene in the June commission meeting to review public comments. And from there, with your review, just so everyone's aware of the process, you have the liberty to revise make any changes according to the comments, and then go through that resubmission process, or we can approve the rules in a final vote.
Thank you very much. Well, commissioners and staff, here we are to the almost the conclusion of our commission meeting this morning. We would invite those who have registered to address the commission to come forward. Mr. Blair, Mr. Valentine, we have you. Is there anyone online, Vicki? No one online, so Mr. Blair first. And we kind of like to limit this to 3 minutes. There might be some questions to you. I've asked Director Clayson to give us a little count here on the timing, and I'm just going to say this is also Bart is also an Ogden City Councilman. Would you please express? This isn't on your time, right? Okay. Please express to the staff and to the council appreciation. And thank you very much. And we're happy to address us on the issue that you come here to
speak to these guys, and I'll see you in like 2 minutes. Okay.
We're excited to have you here. We're excited to have you in our building, in our city, and Todd, I'm excited to have you in my seat. So thank you. Let me just start. Well, first, I promise I will not take more than 3 minutes. I know how that can get on people's nerves. Let me just express, first of all, I understand that my fate is in your hands, and so I in no way, shape, or form want to offend or disparage anyone. I just simply wanted to kind of rehash the last few months and my experience with the DABS. At our store, we own a single convenience store and an auto body shop and a car wash. So we have some different businesses all in one location. At the end of last year and the beginning of this year, we were considering some changes, and those changes took some time, and I take full responsibility. I didn't find out that I let my license lapse until the DABS was kind enough to call me at the end of February, which is when it ends, right? They call me and say, hey, just want to let you know. I think they called me March 1st and told me that my beer license had lapsed February 28th. I said, okay, great. What do I need to do? Submit another application, and they were kind enough to tell me how to do that. So I went on and did that. Just by mere happenstance, I submitted it on March 12th. Again, they were kind enough to call me and let me know that all applications had to be in by March 11th to be on the March agenda meeting. I was never told when they had to be in. I was never told that there was a deadline. I just was told that it was going to be on March 27th or 28th. I can't remember exactly. Again, I figured I had until March 27th to get it, but I understand that can play into the hot mess that you guys are trying to eliminate. So I understand that. I understand. I thought, okay, again, I had made another mistake, and I guess I'll wait until April. I've worked with Shannon and I believe Stephanie. I don't know Stephanie's last name, but Shannon Donahue. Stephanie. So fast forward, I submitted it on March 12th. They tell me it looks great. I have a text message that says it looks great. Everything's wonderful. I will personally ensure that you'll be on the April agenda. Great. April 15th, I come to city council meeting. I'm sitting in my meeting. I get a phone call. It's Shannon. She says, hey, there's been a little problem. I've noticed a problem. I said, great. I really can't do anything right now. Can I call you tomorrow, or can you call me tomorrow? Sure. Great. That would have been Wednesday, the 16th. I didn't hear back. So Thursday, I reach out to Shannon. The problem was we have Blair Service and Blair Sinclair, and I had transposed those two names. To me, it's not a big deal, but I understand there is a process, and I understand that. I called Shannon, I called Shannon back at 10:44, I believe, on a Thursday. Had a new email. I don't get that till the following day, which would have been Friday. Friday, I look at my emails, Friday morning, it says, hey, you transposed these two names. In order to be on the agenda, it has to be done by 11 o'clock. 12 o'clock. No, 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock that morning, that Thursday morning. So she emailed me and gave me 13 minutes. I didn't meet it in the time. So now, they're telling me that it won't be until, I don't know where the timer is. It won't be until the May meeting. Everything looks good, everything, I've done what they've asked. And I understand that there is a process, and I understand that this has to be done. And I have done everything they've asked, and I've tried my hardest to not lose my temper. But I'm just asking, it's all done, and I'm asking if there is any way, shape, or form to have this approved before the end of May. It's been March, or end of February, so March, April, and now May. That's 3 months of revenue I've lost out on based on one minor oversight and then a possible transposition of names. So that's my plea here today. I don't know. I know you only meet once a month. I just was wondering if on the local consent form. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Can someone help? I mean, we want to have consideration here. This is just a snafu, you know. Go ahead. Jeremy, can you say something?
Not exactly sure what you'd like me to say, except based on the way the statute's written, the local consent was incorrect. And making sure and ensuring, and I think Stephanie and her team did a fine job. They did what they were supposed to do based on the law, based on the way we practice our processes at the DABS. I do have the information, timestamp, date information of the contacts that were made to Mr. Blair, and the content of those contacts, the emails in the online licensing and permitting system, the context of the voicemails that were left, et cetera, and so on. So I know that staff have been doing their due diligence to reach out to the applicant to get this resolved. Unfortunately, I would imagine, given your busy schedule and given the busy schedule of my team, it's just a matter of phone tag and getting those things resolved. So as it stands currently, the local consent, I believe we have it. It is accurate and complete now. It meets the requirements, and it can move forward because we have the complete local consent from the city. And that's what we were waiting for. You can take action as you like.
Chair,
Commissioner Tui.
this is interesting, probably not isolated. I appreciate you bringing this to our attention. It's frustrating to me to hear that we're the bottleneck, right? That the commission's a bottleneck because we meet once a month.
Yes.
And also, our hands are also tied by the statute. We used to have plenary authority. We don't anymore. That was the legislature's decision. And so here we are with a simple case of like, we'd like to take care of this. I don't think we can. But I think you're proving the point that I've brought up to legislators up to the director's discretion to automatically approve these and then inform the commission. I don't think that we should be wasting your time and your revenue because we only meet once a month. By the way, I don't think we should have to meet every month either because we can't do anything. So, Chair, that's my opinion here. I don't think we can do anything here unless you see it differently. But I think this is a perfect illustration of the point that our legislative leads need to hear about this type of license and these sorts of issues really impacting your business, and this sort of issue being left to the discretion of the department to just take care of and not be bound by our meeting times.
I fully understand.
Commissioners, this is really unfortunate, Bart. I mean, it's a simple beer license. It's a simple beer license at Blair Service that I've known this establishment most of my life. It's a simple beer license.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Tenor?
I think this is kind of this conversation going on. I know that in relation to one of the other applications where I do feel like these are kind of different circumstances because this would have ended up on kind of a consent agenda. The whole purpose of the consent agenda, though, is again, it's provided to us ahead of time so we have time to dig through and make sure that it's all taken as one vote. So, you know, again, they're a little bit different. But all of that being said, I think in part of the conversation around the other application and I mean, I think I would be open, and I think that at least one of my colleagues mentioned that they would be open to a special commission meeting, and so potentially that's where this could be dealt with special. Just put it on the record.
Mr. Blair,
That would be great.
that's our thinking too. Thank you very much. We're going to do everything we can do within the parameters in which we operate to address your concern. This is very unfortunate.
Yep.
We apologize.
Thanks so much.
Just a quick comment.
Thank you, Commissioner Horton.
I just wanted to let you know, I think that the primary issue we have is it wasn't on the agenda.
Sure. And
Another little
again,
tweak,
and I'm not
so-
want to belabor this. I don't understand. So, Shannon sent me the email Thursday at 10:47, I believe it was. You can check it. And then I sent, and so I called her. I tried to submit it Friday, couldn't figure it out Friday. I'm like, I don't understand. I said that they're, because in my mind, they were on there, right? But they were switched. Monday morning, Shannon called me very early, which was great. I mean, again, they weren't available. I called and called repeatedly. They weren't available Thursday or Friday all day. So she called me Monday and said, I'm going to do everything in my power to get this on the agenda. Now, yay or nay, it didn't happen. And I don't understand. I mean, I get that things have to be on the agenda so you can have them. I understand that. But this was Monday. And then after that, I thought, I just don't know what else to do. So I just asked, and luckily you were here in my city. So it worked out quite well. But yes, I totally understand that. But
You raised this to our attention. We're going to do everything we can to expedite something for you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
there's no more for me, correct?
No,
I do have a
thank you
business
very
to
much.
run.
You've
So
been
I'm
here
gonna go do my
you've been here for
now.
more than 2 hours. You have your business to run. We wish you well. Mr. Valentine, please.
Chair Handy, if I may, Mr. Valentine's counsel is on speakerphone. I guess we're having some issues with the
Yeah, we are.
system. Could I maybe see if we could listen to her?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Jeanette?
Hi, commissioners. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
447088.
Okay, because she's on the Zoom.
And I don't know. It is not.
Commissioners, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Janelle Bauer. I represent Mr. Valentine and Six Sailor and Apparition. Can you still hear me? I'm getting some feedback. Sorry.
Keep going.
Okay. My client would like to request a special meeting to review his license as soon as possible. He had employees and managers for the bar that were planning on going to work this weekend. His application was submitted by April 10th and was complete other than paying his license fee. And also there was a proximity issue that we had a good working relationship with Sam and Brian and Jeremy, and we resolved that issue. So his employees believe that they were going to start work today. Some of them have been waiting to work for a long time and have been hired for a long time. He's worried he's going to lose employees and good trained individuals that he has waiting to onboard. And we'd request that that meeting be scheduled right away. There's nothing unusual or against the law with this application. I don't think that you can base a decision on my client exercising his First Amendment right to free speech or base a decision on a hypothetical situation. So I would just like you to consider his license fairly under the law like any other license, but do that really quickly because we've got people's livelihoods depending on this.
Thank you, Janelle. Mr. Valentine, would you like to address this, please?
Yes, I'm sad I have to be here today. I hope you guys have an apology for me as well. I am also a business owner. Just for the record, my name is Michael Valentine. I ran for mayor of Salt Lake City in 2023. I plan to run again in 2027. I am the owner of Six Sailor Cider. I've been making cider almost 20 years, possibly one of the most experienced cider makers in the state of Utah. Six Sailor goes back to 2014. We're one of the older cideries here. I have also the owner of a bar, Weathered Waves, that was at the Gateway, and now the owner of this bar, Apparition. I have a lot of problems with working with the DABs, problems I've even talked to Director Clausen directly about, that have fallen on deaf ears. I'll kind of just go real quick in 3 spots here. Last year, we banned hate speech from our bar, and I didn't think it was anything. We are a safe space for queer folks, for trans folks, for anyone to come, be invited. We don't allow any hate speech for anyone in the bar. And unfortunately, when we found out after, through reporters, that we were being investigated by the Department of Alcohol, I sent a message to Michelle Smith, wherever she's at, with no response. And the next day it was in the papers and it became a huge sensation. It became international. I got doxxed. I got death threats. Someone threatened to burn the bar down. And what happened was the DABs took fake complaints, things like Michael banned a Star of David or a yarmulke from the bar, stuff that never happened. These people never even came to the bar. I've been told there was over 70 complaints against us, all of them fake. You guys took these fake complaints, didn't vet them, also didn't talk to us as the licensee holder. You put me in danger. You put my employees in danger, my customers in danger. It went to the Attorney General and the Justice Department. It was investigated. There was nothing found to be discriminatory because we ban Zionism. Zionism is an ideology. It's steeped in white supremacy. It's hateful. We're talking about Israel. Israel bombed a school this morning. They're committing hate crimes and genocide on a national level. And you can smirk, that's Geneva Conventions. This is like things that aren't, political. Everyone should be against genocide. They're killing aid workers. Speaking up for genocide shouldn't be impacting the bar. That BDS law you mentioned, it's unconstitutional. For starters, you can't have a law for someone to not buy a product. And then it also doesn't apply to us because we don't have a contract with the state. This is about a state license. And then real quick on the proximity laws, I would like to also mention, I appreciate you guys working with us. But just in general, the proximity laws are also illegal as well because they violate church and state and the the Constitution. I'm not a religious person. I don't know why a church is violating. There's been studies shown that there's no bearing on this. So we will be moving forward for that. We'd like to see these proximity laws, improved and just, gone for good. But I've also would like to see the DABs, the process is improved. I've had a lot of problems with Jeremy. In December, he just canceled our manufacturing license, the license I applied for in March of last year. And paid for the fees in July. Sorry, what?
I'm just letting you know we're at 3 minutes.
Sure. Well, there's a lot of problems, and I was on the agenda before, that you guys.
I'm just letting you know you're at 3 minutes. And now you're
Okay.
at 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll try to wrap up. But I would have liked that you guys called us when we were on the agenda, so I could have talked to this issue. My attorney was trying to comment and wasn't allowed to. So we're just trying to run a business. We're trying to get a manufacturing license. I think it's very obvious to me, my customers, my employees, that we're being targeted by the DABs in the state of Utah directly. And our businesses are trying to be shut down when, and I believe it's because, we're on the verge of becoming one of the biggest cideries in Utah, planning to distribute outside of the state. Not having this bar license costing me on average $1,000 a day. Not having the manufacturing license is costing me around $30,000 to $50,000 a month. So this is direct revenue. And we also should have had it been on the conditional license months ago. We've been trying to get this license since November. So, at this point, I plead with the commission to rein the DABs in, to, talk to us on an individual level. I'll be speaking to state representatives about DABs behavior and what's going on in the commission and just the Department of Alcohol. I think it's obscene that, a business is being targeted when we have zero violation history. We're very strict about who was coming into our bar, who was getting alcohol, who were serving it. We were following all the guidelines and we've had 0 violations. When there's other bars out there who have extreme violations, underage drinking, these sting operations, and they have a 40-day suspension and get their license again. It just seems kind of obscene. So anyway, I hope you guys do what's right, bring in the dabs, hold it accountable, and get our licenses so we can just serve our customers and run our business and not have to waste time coming to explain, the jobs you guys should be doing already. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Valentine. That's very helpful information that will inform us going forward on this matter. Now, commissioners, we will call for a motion for adjournment. Commissioner Orton, so moved from Commissioner Jacobson. All in favor say aye. We won't do a roll call on that.